Let's get ready to rumble!
Welcome to Boxing Unwrapped. It's Boxing Unwrapped, the boxing podcast that's now ranked 4th with the WBA. I'm Ryan.
I'm Andrew. Only 4. Where have we been going wrong? We've not been paying our fees enough then.
No, I don't think so. So welcome to What the F is the Boxing News, guys, the show where we give you everything you need to know about last week's fights, what's coming up this weekend, and everything else that you could possibly imagine. So, Andy, do you want to tell the good people what we've got in store for them?
Well, we should always start off by covering what the F are the results from last week. We can have a little bit of a look at what the fights coming up this weekend are. And there's obviously the card featuring the world's pound per pound number 1 at the O2 in London. We're going to have a little bit of random news. We might touch upon what the F went wrong last week, or maybe not. We can talk about what's grinding our gears and round off with some listener corner.
Right, well, let's dive right in to what the F are the results from last week.
There's only...
How do we do this?
How do we do this? Shall we do Shall we save the main event to last?
Yeah, let's do that.
So, can I talk about this is a different fight card, but in Mexico, my boy Philip Hrgovic, who's clearly not Mexican, beat and defeated Mario Herdia in a completely pointless 3-round KO.
I totally fucking, absolutely destroyed him. I don't think Herida had any business being anywhere near Hrgovic, actually. It was kind of a shame.
Yes, and I don't think there was might speak about this a little bit later, but I don't think there's a huge amount of point to this.
No.
Not at all. Or if there was, then someone would need to explain to me what it was, what the point was, because that is certainly not something that I'm understanding very well. So...
there was that, and then we had Juan Francisco Estrada versus DeWayne Beamon. Estrada wins by 9th round TKO, and he was looking quick as fuck. Pew, 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 pew.
He was.
I mean,
he
threw a lot of punches.
DeWayne was overmatched. DeWayne was in over D-head in this one.
Oh man, he was just taking so much abuse. It was there were points where I actually thought should his corner keep him in?
Mm-hmm.
It is for the title, but really, he was suffering a lot of abuse.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And after some recent events and deaths and stuff, you probably want to stop your fighter from dying, I think.
Mm-hmm. I would say as an optimal strategy, yeah. So anyway, Estrada won, and we'll look for some more big fights in the future. So, should we talk about the main fight, the most interesting, intriguing fight of the weekend? Sergey Kovalev versus... What's his expression? The thing about being lions.
What
is it?
The cub. The cub? What?
He's got this expression about being a lion or something.
I don't know. There was a lot of lion chat before this fight.
Yeah, Yarde's got an expression about being a lion or something. I can't remember what it is now. Anyway, Sergey Kovalev versus... Is it lions in the camp or something? Is that what he says?
And Anthony, sometimes also known as Simba, Yarde.
Yes. That's it.
that one.
So they were fighting in Russia on Saturday night in Kovalev's hometown. Now, what did you think, Ryan? Tell me what you thought of this one.
You know what I thought, actually, is that Yarde showed his inexperience.
Yes.
I think it very much showed, and I'll probably talk about this a bit later, but actually that his trainers did not do him any good with any sort of game plan whatsoever. Mm-hmm. So the most competitive that Yarde looked was in the 8th round. Yeah. When he started doing the thing that everybody knew he should do, and that was targeting Kovalev's body. Mm-hmm. And as soon as he did that, he got like loads of traction. There, like Kovalev's corner said, like, if you don't, like, going into the 9th round, they said, you're taking too much punishment. Mm-hmm. If you don't show me something in this round, I'm calling it. Mm-hmm. Right? It was that serious. Mm-hmm. And Yarde went back to type, stopped targeting the body, was like absolutely fucked. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a real shame because I think Yarde's better than probably what he performed actually. I think he's promising, especially considering he'd never gone above 7 rounds.
Yeah, I think...
And they didn't do any sparring in the camp.
I know, that kind of beggars belief, doesn't it?
What the fuck, man? You want, like, if he's never done more than 7 rounds, and he's going against Kovalev, you want him doing, like, 14 rounds, 15 rounds. So that you know his conditioning is so good mm-hmm. that, like, he's going to have the confidence to go and do what he wants to do. And, like, he didn't seem to use his, like, size or strength or anything like that. I mean, it's definitely not the last to see from Yarde. I'm sure he made a bunch of cash. Mm-hmm. But I think it's unfortunate for him because I think the opportunity was there because I don't think Kovalev really looked that dangerous. He had a very good jab.
His jab is like debilitating, isn't it, for opponents?
Yeah.
It was kind of like what he did against Alvarez, Elador Alvarez in the return fight. It wasn't a million mm-hmm. miles away from that, where he just kind of like kept him at bay, put on a bit of a boxing lesson. It was kind of a similar idea, really, I thought, that fight. But I don't know. I think Yarde probably did miss an opportunity and the lack of experience came back to haunt him. I think, because in the 8th round, if anyone's not watched it, like, Kovalev Yarde is just like going, this is it, I'm trying to take you out, and he just batters him all around the ring. I mean, he lays it on him real thick, and Kovalev is reeling. He's absolutely all over the place, but he just doesn't quite like land that kind of final conclusive blow. And then Kovalev's obviously got, he's got good recovery because he does come back out and he's able to continue and stuff after the minute's rest. And Yarde is completely a spent force by that point and has nothing left. I mean, Yarde was courageous for lasting as long as he did, really, because he obviously was like, he was so fatigued. I mean, he gets knocked out by a jab in the 11th round,
I know,
which is just a pure. It's just pure fatigue. It's just because he's literally got nothing left. His body's emptied, and you could see that. Like, he couldn't walk properly. He was all over the place in the latter stages. But I don't know if he should have been in that bad condition. He did put a lot into the 8th, obviously, but I just don't know whether or not if he'd had all the sparring and he'd had been in like optimal condition and he'd had more experience going deeper into fights, whether he would have been quite as fatigued as that. I think probably no.
I totally agree. Mm-hmm. I think it is one of these things like Yarde does carry a lot of muscle mm-hmm. for a boxer at this level. Mm-hmm. And that is going to affect your ability. And if you're not doing any sparring, you need to make sure if you're going to carry that amount of size that you can like carry that throughout 12 rounds, mm-hmm. throwing punches. Mm-hmm. Especially, if there's going to have to be one round where you're going to have to throw a bunch of punches to try and knock someone out. Mm-hmm. You need to be able to like recover relatively quickly. Your cardio needs to be banging.
Yeah.
And like, there were crazy stats coming out as well, though. Like, the Yarde didn't throw any punches in like the first half of the fight. He certainly did not connect any of his jabs.
No.
At all.
Because he looked a little bit like, not that he was getting hurt badly, but just that he didn't the first 6 rounds, he didn't really seem to have any answers to Kovalev's like boxing brain, and his jab seemed to be like a wee bit ahead. I thought Yarde had a fair few like swing and misses where he looked like, he looked quite like raw when he was swinging, because he was missing by a fair amount of clean air when he was swinging for Kovalev in the early stages of the fight. But I don't know. It's difficult to know whether by the time the 8th round, it was almost impossible for him to win on points. But it's kind of like, could he have left it another few rounds? Was Kovalev slowing down even more, or was Yarde starting to tire and he thought, well, no, I have to do it now or never, sort of thing. But it made for very entertaining viewing, and the 8th round was like, whoa, really interesting. And Yarde showed a lot of heart, but I mean, I think there's some issues that he needs to address if he's going to win, which you think he would. Part of it's the experience, which of course he'll get, but then like he was saying in the post-match interview, he's saying about how inexperienced his corner were, and I was like, well, you by definition at some points are going to be inexperienced when you're fighting because you never fought at that level before, but like your corner doesn't need to be inexperienced. You don't need to have an inexperienced corner. That's not
actually what for something like this. You need to have the most experienced corner you can get your fucking hands on.
Yeah, and his corner is nowhere near that. And if he referenced it, then you think, well, maybe it's part of his thinking, and maybe he'll make some adjustments, bring some extra people in or something, change some people out. I don't know, but it looked to me like that was potentially an issue, and the whole no sparring thing was just seemed ridiculous. Because it was a fail. His body failed, didn't it? Really, in terms of his endurance.
Right. Well, let's move on, and let's move on to our newest segment, the 6 Degrees of Danny Williams.
No, I've forgotten about this. I never include it in the summary at the start of the episode because I always forget. Hopes and prayers that nothing's gonna come of it.
Well, so this is actually quite tough, but I've done this for a reason. Okay.
Is it because you like to make me look like a dick?
No. So this week,
right,
we're gonna go from Mr. Otto Wallin to Danny Williams.
Fuck off.
And now this is all through people that, all fights have occurred, okay? And actually, there is only one step between the two.
Otto Wallin has fought someone that Danny Williams has also fought. Do I know the person? Do I know the person's name?
Potentially. I think maybe when we spoke about Otto Wallin's record recently, I think you maybe said you might have heard of this guy.
Oh. There was only one guy on his record I said I thought I'd maybe heard of, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Was it Grana?
Yes.
Granite.
Okay, I'll give it to you. Adrian Granat. Right?
Oh, man.
So
I would never got it if you hadn't said, if it wasn't for the fact that we talked about this like a few weeks ago.
Yeah. Adrian Granat fought Danny Williams in 2014, right? And knocked out Mr. Danny Williams, which, to be honest, is probably a bit of a sad one because Adrian Granat is 6'7.5", to Danny Williams is 6'3", right? But he's now considered inactive. The last person that Adrian Granat actually fought was Otto Wallin.
Right. Okay.
That was in 2018.
Okay.
So I kind of want to do this as a matter of point on how piss poor Otto Wallin's record is.
Okay.
Because before this, he had a no contest with Nick Kishner, and then it was Adrian Granat. So, Otto Wallin has been incredibly inactive. The no contest with Nick Kishner was in April 2019. His fight with Adrian Granat was in April 2018.
Right, okay.
This is a professional boxer who is ranked 4th with the WBA. Right? And is now fighting Tyson Fury.
Nick Kishner. Now, I'm trying to think.
It probably wouldn't surprise me if you have never heard of Nick Kishner. He is America's 52nd best heavyweight.
I was just looking at his record as he's speaking about it.
He's 5'11".
It's very short for a heavyweight. Yeah, no, I don't recognise anyone on his record. Maybe...
No, exactly.
Latif Kayode. Oh, Andre Ward. That can't be the same Andre Ward. That's definitely not the same Andre Ward. No, I think because
that was a debut.
I think I recognise...
That was a debut.
It's a different division as well. I think I recognise Latif Kayode. I think I recognise him. But anyway, right, okay, yeah. No, I agree. I take your point.
I mean, the only person I recognise, Nick Kishner. Oh, no, it's not the same Kevin Johnson. Right, okay. So literally, this is how... I just wanted to kind of make a point out of this, right? Danny Williams has fought fucking everybody, but also Otto Wallin is like a shit. He's a shit boxer, okay? He's a shit boxer. His opponents are shit boxers, and he is a shit boxer. And I wanted to demonstrate this through the 6 degrees of Danny Williams.
Yes.
And you got it. I mean, well fucking done. Actually.
Well, I mean, I got thereabouts, but like I say, I only would have been able to jumble something at it because I remember us speaking about it. We looked at his record before.
Yeah, we did, yeah.
Zambano, that was the other one. Rafael Zambano Love was the other one.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's...
You could probably go via... Oh, no, because he's not... Yeah, you could go via him. There'll be lots of ways to go via him because he's been beaten by loads of different guys.
Yeah, he has actually. He has, yeah. You could actually go by him. So, I mean... But that's the beauty of the 6 degrees of Danny Williams. There's so many ways to go. So let's move on then to what the F are the fights this weekend.
Right. So we've got the big card.
The big card, Lomachenko versus Campbell. If you haven't listened to our Who the F is Vasyl Lomachenko episode, make sure to watch it before the fight. It's quite interesting shit. But man, this is actually, I would say, a great card.
You love a Sky Sports box office card, right?
I do. I do.
You get sold on them. You're like, yes, it's gonna be so fucking good.
Ah, man, because you get like some good value for money in that. Actually,
yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
So you've got Lomachenko versus Campbell, which is gonna be, I think, relatively interesting, just because I think the first few rounds to see how Lomachenko works out Campbell's size and goes from there. I think that's going to be really interesting.
I think Lomachenko's a slow starter normally. Like, he's normally quite cagey to start with. So I think he'll do that. He'll kind of work out the patterns and the combinations that Campbell's going to throw. And then he'll start dismantling him over the middle rounds and continue to increasingly more and more dominant as the fight progresses, is my prediction.
Yes, I agree. And I predict Lomachenko 7-round TKO.
Oh, interesting. If you like Luke Campbell, you can get very decent money on betting on him. 10-1, 12-1.
I don't like Luke Campbell. I just don't see it. You know, I don't think this is going to be an Anthony Crolla job.
No.
But I think this is going to be. I think it's going to be one-sided.
I'm gonna go for. So you said 7th round stoppage. I'll go later. I'll go 9th round stoppage. Lomachenko.
Okay. Then we've got Charlie Edwards defending his version of the flyweight title against Julio Cesar Martinez Aguilar. What a name. What a name.
I like it.
I know. But, I mean, I do like Charlie Edwards. I think I like his style. I think he wins comfortably.
The boy who's fighting Aguilar is no mugger. He's a high-level fighter.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, definitely. Definitely. You know, I mean, it's not a padded record that the guy has. They haven't just rolled someone out. Like, it is going to be a competitive fight. But I think Edwards can comfortably frustrate opponents.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, so even if they are more aggressive in coming forward at him, he's very good at, like, boxing them off, moving them, and, like, still, like, striking well. Mm-hmm. So I think Edwards does it, actually. I think he manages to defend it.
Mm-hmm. I think he will probably too, but I think it will be a very competitive fight. So I think that's a really good one to watch.
I put Edwards on points.
Okay.
Edwards on points for me.
Well, that's what I would have said as well. So.
All right. So then there we go. There we go. Then we've got the shittest of the Furies in action against Alexander Povetkin.
What do you think? What do you think?
I think Povetkin beats Fury comfortably. I'm going for an 8th round knockout by Povetkin.
I think Povetkin gets him earlier or not at all. I'm going Povetkin stops him in 5.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I just think it's because, like, if Fury does anything like against Pulev, he's going to clam up and be a bit frustrating for Povetkin, but then Povetkin comes through and manages to knock him out. Mm-hmm. That's the way I see it.
It's about whether or not Fury's learned enough to be properly, like, well, there's a few things. Whether or not he's really elusive enough to avoid any substantial punches throughout the entire fight, because Povetkin does carry power, and for no question he carries power, and how badly does Povetkin tire, and additionally, does Fury possess the power to hurt him? So those would be the questions I would ask. Well, it's kind of obvious. They're kind of fairly self-evident, but like 60-40 fight with the bookies in Povetkin's favour. So they're saying it could be competitive. I think this is an interesting fight. I think Hughie Fury, even though he's young, is starting to, like, if he gets beaten again, he's going to be starting to, like, stack up quite a lot of losses.
Yeah, he's going the way of David Price.
Potentially. So, yeah, I think he needs to... I think it could be quite a long road back if he loses that fight. I think Povetkin might retire if he loses.
Now, Joshua Buatsi versus Ryan Ford.
Buatsi.
Now, the thing about Ryan Ford is he's an MMA fighter turned boxer.
Right.
What usually happens when this happens?
They're rubbish.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never heard of him, I'm going to be honest. Is he rubbish?
No, he's never been stopped in his 20 professional fights, is the best that they have to say.
Right.
So, I think he's just rubbish. He, apparently, he's from Canada, and he picked up some version of the WBC silver light heavyweight title. Do you know what I mean? Like some bullshit fucking title. So, he's a named opponent, but that's about as far as we get.
I'm just looking at his record just now. He's lost to a lot of named opponents, if you know what I mean. He's lost to a lot of people who we've heard of. He's lost to Fedor Chudinov, he's lost to Andrei Sorokin, and he's lost to Avni Yildirim. Now, obviously losing to someone doesn't make you any good, it makes you bad. But
yes.
I'm just pointing that out in terms of that's his record. He's rubbish.
Yeah.
So that's a bit point. That's a bit weak, Ryan. That for me, that's a bit weak. That fight.
It's a bit weak. We've got Joe Cordina versus Gavin Gwynne for Joe Cordina's titles. I think this is probably like a competitive fight, actually. I think this is a competitive fight.
Do you?
Gavin Gwynn's 11-0, one knockout.
Right.
Joe Cordina's only 9-0. He's got more knockouts, but it's not like there's a massive experience difference between the two. But I think Joe Cordina will probably be odds on to win.
I'm absolutely certain that he will be. I was just wanting to look, actually, while we were speaking, just how odds on he is.
Super odds on.
Super odds on. I bet he is. 25 to 1 on.
Well, there we go. Pretty comprehensive.
You can get 11 or 12 to 1 on your friend Gavin Gwynne if you fancy him, Ryan. So that's pretty good.
I might do it just for the banner.
Just do it. Yeah, put your money where your mouth is.
We've got James Tennyson versus Atif Shafiq.
We do. We absolutely do.
We do.
We do.
It's on. It's for a WBA international lightweight title. So, Diddy Bell.
They have a lot. They do like a lot of these fictional belts on these matches.
They do like this. They fucking really do. The one thing to remember, guys, about this is a lot of the undercard will also be like free to air on YouTube. So you can watch like most of the undercard before like it's usually like 7:30 you start paying. So you will get like quite a lot of floaters and stuff, which can be quite good actually. Can be quite good to watch. So so a big weekend of boxing.
There is a fight. It's not that interesting, I don't think, to a lot of people, but there is a fight overnight in the US. I can never say that right. Erislandy Lara versus Ramon Alvarez, fighting in the super welterweight division. So that's a decent level fight, but it's probably not going to get that many folks that excited, but worth pointing out.
Well, let's move on to what the F went wrong last week.
I don't know. I couldn't find it. There was nothing obvious. I think there might be a little bit of background chat from Mr. Ted.
Yeah, I think so too.
He had a lot
actually.
to say last week, did he?
He did have a lot to say. He did. He was pretty excited, man. He was a pretty excited guy. He likes to put his 2 cents in when it comes to boxing.
He does.
But so far this week he's been quite quiet actually. So
he's just not digging the vibe this week.
No, he's not digging the vibe. Yeah. Well, then let's move on to some random news.
Random news.
Random news.
There's a couple of big things to talk about.
Yeah, we do indeed.
Anything you'd like to start with, or?
Well, I would actually like to start with something a bit more lighthearted.
Go on.
That Ricky Hatton accidentally ordered himself an £835 steak while out on holiday in Mykonos on Sunday night.
When you say an £835 steak, do you mean the steak weighed £835?
No, he was at a restaurant and ordered himself a Kobe ribeye that cost €920. He didn't realise the price.
Did he say it was nice?
I think he was quite drunk. Because he said that he basically woke up in a puddle of tears on Monday morning after seeing the food bill in his pocket.
That's quite nice language, quite eloquent. A puddle of tears.
A puddle of tears, yeah.
That's a shame.
No. I know. It is a shame.
But
I don't think he was like... He wasn't necessarily looking too much at prices because also on the receipt is a €490 bottle of Dom Perignon Brut, and a €75 glass of Veuve Brut as well.
Right, okay. So it was an argument that he didn't see the price of it. It's holds slightly less weight. Yeah. He's like spunking the same amount again on champers.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. You know.
This is the problem about being drunk when you get loads of money.
Exactly. You know.
A fool and his money are soon parted.
They are indeed. And there's also some very big news. Because
is it steak related?
Well, semi. Dave Allen has been announced on that card in Newcastle.
Fuck
in
off.
October. He's back. Yeah, he's gonna be on that card.
I think he's a nugget.
So there we are.
Who's he fighting?
No, an opponent unnamed at this point.
I don't know about this.
So
my concern is that when he was saying stuff about being in like a terminal decline physically, then my concern is that actually he was telling the truth.
Maybe.
Maybe. Because he's still young, but like the amount of punishment, etc. he's taken. Dear oh dear.
Mm-hmm.
Well, fingers crossed. All the best for him. Wish him all the best.
Exactly.
Hot off the back of his compelling victory versus Anthony Yarde, Sergey Kovalev called out Canelo as the option, and everyone is basically talking as if this is now a done deal, and he will fight Canelo.
Mm-hmm. Well,
because
the one thing I heard there was a massive sticking point was Canelo like insisting on certain levels of like weight and rehydration, which I think is going to be a real fucker for Kovalev because he's going to have to be at a certain weight and like not rehydrate. So I think he'll go into the fight quite dehydrated.
Well, it'll be interesting to see kind of where they land with that, really, because you think, Kovalev would not agree to it if it was like, they're going to fight at light heavy. Kovalev can't come down any weight. So, if it's a rehydration thing, it's like, how much of a limit do you give him? He's still going to be bigger than Canelo. I don't know. It's an interesting one.
Totally.
I don't know how much Kovalev fought at on Saturday night. I don't know what his rehydrated weight was. Whether it's like hugely over or no. But it's kind of like a bit of a freak show fight, but very high level as well. So therefore interesting. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of like a crossover appeal between like, oh well, that's weird because one of them's like so much bigger than the other one, but also actually it's two high level boxers as well. So it is odd. Don't know. I think a prime Kovalev without too much restriction, in terms of like rehydration, etc. I think a prime Kovalev would win and win well, but I don't think this is a prime Kovalev anymore, and I don't think he will be given a free rein to do as he wishes as long as he makes the weight the day before. It's not going to be like that. So no. It's about whether or not those things can swing it enough for Canelo to overcome the huge size disadvantage he has.
I agree.
Don't know. Seems a tall order anyway, like fighting such a bigger man who can swing at you, I don't know. Interesting though. Your boy, Teofimo Lopez.
My boy. Teofimo.
So the IBF have called him as the mandatory for the belt, so they've got to agree to fight. Apparently, Lopez has been speaking about having some family-related issues that he'll have to resolve before he can take the fight. But obviously, he's got a 30-day window to get a shot against Richard Comey for his belt, for Comey's belt. So we spoke last time after Lopez's last fight, and we're less impressed, weren't we? So it'll be a question of whether he can continue to improve and by how much. But I think that's a very interesting fight if it goes ahead. I think it's quite interesting, and I think it would be competitive.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if this is a smart move for Lopez. I don't know.
Well, he's not taking it yet. He's just in the mandatory position. So whether or not it ends up falling through or not, you might be right. It might be that he decides against it.
If I were him, I would.
Would you?
If I were him, I'd definitely. Yeah, I would. I'd wait it out.
Take a few more fights.
I'd wait it out.
Comey's dangerous. Comey's a banger.
He is a banger. Absolute banger. So I'd be careful.
Yeah, I agree. And the other piece I had was, who's going to Saudi?
Joshua and Mr. Andy Ruiz. He is going to Saudi.
He's going to Saudi and bringing back some suitcases full of cash.
So much cash in his pocket.
So he's obviously caused up enough of a fuss that he's somehow, despite having no contractual entitlement to it, somehow managed to wangle himself a bunch more money to fight Joshua. But he's finally said, so even though Hearn had announced that there was a period of a good while before where Ruiz had said that it wasn't signed and sealed and delivered, but he's now saying that he is going and he will fight. And he's going to knock him out again.
Knock him out. Gonna knock him out.
I'm not convinced he's going to knock him out. I think he's going to get knocked out instead.
I think so as well.
It landed on his arse, I think. So, so, but interesting. Good,
very much.
Good that it's finally, that saga's finally resolved, because that was winding me up.
He was just holding out for more money, man. Let's be honest.
He was.
Let's be honest.
He was. Agree. Cheeky monkey that he is.
Cheeky little monkey.
Did you see him celebrate his birthday?
Yeah. It was a pretty big birthday party.
So Ruiz is taking some time out from training to celebrate his birthday that takes place in 2 weeks. It was a sophisticated and classy affair. They had a pianist in one room and they had a classical artist in the other. Or, no, I got that wrong. They had a woman lying down naked with sushi on her body and strippers serving drinks. So he's a classy guy.
Yeah. Well, I've actually heard his trainer's a bit worried because he thinks he's quite out of shape.
Really?
Yeah, he's a bit worried that he's quite out of shape.
Well, that's stark concern given how he, given what shape, inverted commas, he was in for the first fight.
I know. And that was off the back of 2 camps.
He's going to need to get pushed out on a float, is he, to the ring?
Yeah. I know.
Me, oh me. So, I think that's, I don't know, do you have any more random news, or is that close?
No, I think that's us.
Wow.
That is us.
Wow. Very brief random news, but some big ones there, some big ones. So, I think I might know what it is, Ryan, but I think the time has come for you to then tell me this week what is grinding your gears.
You know what really grinds my gears?
Okay, Andy, I'm going to tell you what grinds my gears this week, right?
Uh-huh.
And please don't get me wrong through what I'm about to say here, right? I think Anthony Yarde was brave in his decision to fight Sergey Kovalev so early in his career. It was a big risk that could have paid off. However, What I would like to say about this situation is, if you are going to take such a risk, at this level of your career, to step up and fight someone like Sergei Kovalev, in Russia, no less, what are you doing keeping your, like, inexperienced training crew in and around you, right? You know, you need to bring in the absolute best, or at least add to the team, in order to make sure you have a camp that is going to leave you a perfect specimen for this fight. You know, learning how to, find Kovalev's weaknesses and exploit them. Make sure that you are as fit as physically possible. You know, you have the legs to fight through it. And that you fucking spar. That you fucking spar. It is the most ridiculous thing I think I've ever heard in my entire life. Right?
I do agree with you. I do agree with you.
You know, you've got to have a level of fucking, like, ring awareness when you're in there. And usually what you do is you pick someone who's very much like your future opponent, and you spend 12 weeks trying to fight them to make sure that you're, like, totally on your game. And, you know, don't get me wrong, I think Yarde will come back. I think, you know, he will hopefully still challenge for titles. However, he needs to look at his back room and go, right, you know, these people got me to where I am now. Maybe I don't ditch them because I trust them, but how can I bring in, like, better strength and conditioning coaches? You know, better, like, you know, more experienced boxing trainers that understand, you know, how elite level fighters need to train. You know, I just think that it's ridiculous, and you could see that he didn't have a game plan going into that fight. You know, everybody was saying, well, what you need to do is, you know, Sergei Kovalev has had quite a few drinking problems. Target that body, hit him in the liver, and he, you know, you'll notice, like, it saps him pretty badly. He's quite old. He's been in a lot of wars. This is what you would do. So why, you know, are his trainers not going, well, actually, do you know what? We probably should do these kind of things. Do you know what I mean? I just think it was ridiculous, and it really wound me up, actually.
I agree, yeah, because there was every man and his dog was everyone was of a consensus opinion that he should be targeting the body more. And the only person that wasn't on board was Anthony Yarde and his training team.
Yeah, totally.
And they offered him no like comment or advice in the corner during the fight. They just stand there and do fuck off. It's like, why are you not, like, at least speaking to him a bit and, like, sort of giving him your thoughts and some tactical guidance and stuff?
Exactly. Like, when you hear Ben Davidson speaking to Tyson Fury in the corner, he's like, this is exactly what you need to do over the next round. Do this. Don't do that. If you do this, you're going to get success with it. This is what he's doing, blah, 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 blah. And then, you know, Tyson Fury will go out and exercise those things, and it will make a massive fucking impact. And I think that's the kind of thing that Anthony Yarde really needs at this stage of his career, especially coming off the back of this loss.
I would be very surprised if he doesn't, like, look and make adjustments, because it's just I don't think you can find anyone that thinks it wasn't a bit ridiculous to have such an inexperienced team and to do no sparring. Like, I don't think you'll find a single boxing person who thinks that wasn't reducing his chances of success rather than increasing them. So. What did they do all day if they weren't sparring? What the fuck? Was it just lifting weights?
Exactly. Which is fucking not doing him any good.
No.
You know, and I think Anthony Yarde has come out and said he has nothing to change.
Wow.
But, like, I think, actually, like, someone needs to be like, Anthony, you have a lot to change if you want to be challenging at, like, belt level. World title level.
Yeah, and I think... I'm not totally convinced about, like, I think because we talked about if he comes close or if he does reasonably well, even if he loses, it's not a disaster. So luckily for him, he did. He certainly didn't look at if the first 6 rounds had just been replicated for 12, then it would have been in danger of being damaging for him because it would have been so one-sided. He looked so at his depth. But because he had that big flurry and because he showed so much heart, then, yeah, it's not a damaging defeat for him. But the thing to remember, which I think people maybe are forgetting, is that, like, Kovalev's good, but he is on the slide, and there are, like, a lot of very high quality operators in that division. So there's a unification between Gvozdyk and Beterbiev. You both expect them to beat Kovalev, and then you've also got my favourite, Bivol, as well. So I think that those guys are much more prime than Kovalev. Kovalev's in decline, those guys are not. So if he wants to be able to, he needs to make some adjustments. Maybe he can beat Kovalev, but that's still not the benchmark for the quality in the division. And the other guys, because they're younger and stronger, they're not diminished. So there's like another level up to go versus Kovalev. So if he wants to get to there, I think he does have to make changes. Yeah.
I agree. Anyway, so that's what ground my gears this week, man.
Nice. I liked it. Very impassioned.
Indeed. So tell me, Andy, what grinds your gears this week?
You know what really grinds my gears?
Mine's very brief, and it's just a little thing, but it did wind me up. So my boy Philip Hrgovic fought on the Estrada undercard this weekend versus, as we spoke about, Mario Heredia. Now, Heredia is, like we said, is beyond rubbish for like a top prospect to be fighting, and he like bullied him around and then knocked him out in 3. So what grinds my gears is these guys who are like, he's fought much higher level guys. It's okay for prospects coming up to fight guys that are expected or they're likely to beat, but you can't go as a prospect and fight someone that's like a bit of a higher level and then drop back and fight someone that's utter nonsense in your next fight. It's like, I don't understand what they benefit from, and certainly they're like, just non-events to watch. So I'd like prospects to stop reverting or regressing in terms of the quality of the opponent that they fight. It's winding me up, and it's a waste because they only fight every however many months. So it's like, well, he's now not going to fight anyone meaningful for 3, 4, 5, 6 months, whatever it might be. So best.
I know.
So it's winding me up. It's unnecessary. Just fight someone good. Come on.
I know.
Give us a bone.
I know. Give us a bone.
Throw the dog a bone. That's it.
Throw the dog a bone.
So that's what winded me up this week.
Well, just a little bit of listener corner, guys. Please remember to leave us a 5-star review on wherever you listen to this podcast. Please make sure to subscribe. And just to let you guys know, we are still climbing those charts, right? We are now number 35 in the Apple Podcasts in Norway.
Nice.
We are 117 in the Apple Podcasts in the UK, and we're number 88 in the US in the wrestling division of the Apple Podcast. We went up 2 this week. We went up 2.
Nice.
So thank you for the support, guys.
Yes,
thank you very much for the support.
Next week, the 70s. Here we come.
Exactly. I'm still wanting to know who our Argentinian listeners are because we are very popular in Argentina.
They're still being shy and not contacting us at Boxing Unwrapped on Twitter.
No. Right, guys. So we will be back with you next week to chat all of the fallout of Lomachenko and Campbell. But with that in mind, it's goodbye from me, Ryan.
And goodbye from me, Andrew.